I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. The next phase of surveillance, getting under your skin. You see? Getting under your skin. We are here at the height of this prophecy coming to pass before the complete annihilation of America, which is Babylon the Great. So with that being said, again, all of the games that we've been seeing these false prophets making and the changing of doctrine and tap dancing around this breakdown, that's over. This indeed is the M.O.T.B. All right, and there's no way around that. This is going to be the future of payment in the new system to come, right? So before I get into this clip and article, the scriptures do say that the image of the beast should both speak. And as of lately, as we've been seeing, all of the components of this new system is fully coming together right now underneath this guy, who we told you through the Spirit to watch out for. All right, this small hat, this 1948er, this J00. We all knew that something was up with this guy. All right, and this guy, Elon Musk, is going to be the face of all these things soon to come. And this is what I wanted to tie in. And we're going to come back to some of this information here concerning this this beast system, right? But let's jump into this video here. All right, so again, really we are in the next phase of prophecy, right? The next phase of surveillance, getting under your skin.
Charles Darwin's cousin. What nature does blindly, slowly, and ruthlessly, that is to say, evolution by natural selection, man may do providentially, quickly, and kindly. That is to say, evolution by our own, or in this case, by the cloud's intelligent design. But what is Harari talking about in that last sentence? Life breaking out into the inorganic realm. It's been a transhumanist dream from the dawn of modern computing that someday we will be able to upload the informational content of our brains, or of our minds, if you believe in minds, into some sort of massive computing system, some kind of digital cloud or other technological repository capable of storing massive amounts of data. On this entirely materialist view of man, we will then have no more need for our human body, which after all, always fails us in the end. Shedding this mortal coil, this organic dust that always returns to dust, will find the technological means to, well, to live forever. Living forever in the digital cloud or in the mainframe computer in the sky constitutes the transhumanist eschatology. Salvation by digital technology.
Boom. Salvation by digital technology. All right. This is the philosophy, the ideology of the elites. As he said that word eschatology, let's pull that up. Right. So this is the definition of eschatology. As he said, it says the branch of theology that is concerned with the end of the world or of humankind. All right. It says a belief or doctrine concerning the ultimate or final things such as death, the destiny of humanity, the second coming, or the last judgment. It says number 3, the doctrine of the last or final things as death, judgment, and the events therewith connected. All right, so their philosophy, again, is a philosophy of death. All right, as we told you before, I brought this out. This is from the conversation. It says transhumanism billionaires want to use tech to enhance our abilities. The outcomes could change what it means to be human, right? So This is all of the left hand. This is his pseudoscience, his pseudo salvation. All right. These devils believe that they can live forever. All right. That they can cheat death. Right. It says many prominent people in the tech industry have talked about the increasing convergence between humans and machines in coming decades. For example, Elon Musk has reportedly said he wants humans to merge with AI, quote, to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence. And again, we're going to come back to this dude, as I said earlier, all right, because he's the guy that's going to be the face of all of this, right? But again, back to the point, as we just heard, the eschatology, all right, this philosophy of death, all right, this idea from these bankers, these elites, that they can live forever and cheat death, because they know, again, that there's going to be a spiritual augmentation to the Lord's elect. All right, they know that the elect are going to achieve newly perfected bodies. But see, these devils think that they can do it through the left-hand AI technology. All right, this transhumanism madness. Right? They know that this is getting ready to come on the right-hand side. All right, the Lord's elect. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 40. And it reads, it says, there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, right? So you have, bodies from the heavens, heavenly bodies, and then you have bodies terrestrial, which those are the bodies that we have. All right, these earthly bodies. It says, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Verse 41, it says, there is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in corruption. All right, so these corruptible bodies are getting ready to see incorruption, is the point. It says, it is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. You see that? So again, these devils, they think that they can achieve what they believe to be a spiritual body on the left-hand side through this technology. All right, making themselves, artificial gods, if you will. All right, as we just heard, salvation by digital technology. All right, this is all madness. Again, that philosophy of death. It says, 1 Corinthians 15 and 45, it says, 44 again, Salaki, it says, it is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body, see? And so as it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. It says the first man is of earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. You see, as is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, and as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. The point, verse 49, it says, as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. So again, these devils know that the elect of Yahweh Shem El Shai are going to inherit heavenly bodies, celestial bodies, man. All right. There's a spiritual augmentation that's getting ready to happen on the right-hand side. All right. So going back to the point. All right. This is Esau's pseudo salvation. Right. And he cannot cheat death. He will not live forever. Right. It's a vain imagination. Right. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 5. It says, whoso keepeth the commandments shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. And see, these devils, again, going back to that word eschatology, all right, these devils know that the end of their reign, okay, their rulership is over. All right, so they're trying to scramble and push this idea of transhumanism so that they can live forever. All right, store their consciousness in a machine, in a cloud. All right, merging, man with machine or whatnot. Right? The belief or doctrine concerning the ultimate or final things such as death, the destiny of humanity, the second coming, or the last judgment. So they know what time it is for them. Ecclesiastes 8:6, it says, because to every purpose there is time and judgment, and therefore the misery of men is great upon them. Yeah, these devils know. All right, that their misery is great upon them, man. This is their ultimate end. All right, they're not going to escape death. They're not going to escape the judgment of the Lord. Verse 7, it says, for he knoweth not that which shall be. For who can tell him when it shall be? The point, verse 8, it says, there is no man that have power over the spirit to retain the spirit. Neither have he power in the day of death. And there is no discharge in that war. Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. Right. So this wickedness, going back to this transhumanism nonsense. All right. This philosophy of death again, in which they think that they're going to cheat the grave. All right. That they're going to live forever. All right. There's no avoiding that. All right. Same verse, NLT. Right. It says, none of us can hold back our spirit from departing. None of us has the power to prevent the day of our death. You see? There is no escaping that obligation, that dark battle. And in the face of death, wickedness will certainly not rescue the wicked. Exactly. And this is what they're doing. All right. Everything that, this guy, Aaron Carity, was breaking down in that brief part of the clip. You see? Psalms 49:11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. You see? That's the idea and belief of the elites. All right? These Amalekites, they think they're going to cheat death. They're going to live forever. That they're going to be able to forward their spirit in a machine, in a cloud, man. Right? Their inward thought is, Psalms 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. You see that? So, as we just read in Ecclesiastes 8, all right, that's not going to happen. All right? All the thoughts of man is vanity, man. Right? Psalm 94:11, it says, the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, knoweth the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. It's worthless, man. It's nothing. Okay? That's that delusion. All right? As it says in Obadiah that surely thy heart has deceived thee, oh, that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Speaking about you Edomites, all right? You Edomites are not gonna, you're not gonna dodge the grave. You're not gonna cheat death. All right? These are all vain thoughts. I was looking that up as well. That word vanity, as we read, it's all, the thoughts of men are all vanity, right? Yeah, Psalms 144 and verse 4. It says, man is like to vanity. His days are as a shadow that passeth away. All right. These devils' time is up, and they know that. It says, verse 8, Psalms 144 and 8, it says, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. Going back to this transhumanism ideology. Okay? It's a right hand. Your right hand represents power. All right? But their power is a power of falsehood, lies, deception. All right? This is all nothing but a philosophy of death. Verse 11, Psalms 144 and 11, it says, rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, that's you Edomites, whose mouth speaketh vanity. See? And their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. So again, all right, this is not gonna prevail. Right? And it's beautiful to see this because these devils actually think through the delusion of their minds that they're going to avoid the judgment of the Lord. Right? Now, what I really want to get into, bringing it all full circle, because as I said, Elon Musk is getting ready to be the face of everything that's coming to pass right now. Now, check this out. Right? This came out yesterday. just dealing with, again, that, all the components of this new system coming together. So it says here from CNN.com, it says Deutsche is building a master database, right? Deutsche is building a master database for immigration enforcement, sources say, right? So I got the video right here. Let's check this out, right? So it says immigration master database, what the U.S. is planning. Now check this out.
The U.S. Department of Government Efficiency, de facto run by Elon Musk, is reportedly building a master database to surveil and track immigrants. The plan? To collect data from different U.S. agencies, the ones that usually don't share information, and combine it at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. A U.S. Democrat congressman is sounding the alarm. He has requested an investigation, warning that this could pose unprecedented security risks. What's going on exactly? And why should you care, even if you don't live in the U.S.? Well, this move isn't just about U.S. immigration. It's setting a precedent for how governments collect and centralize data on individuals. DOGE is a new U.S. agency. It was set up by U.S. President Donald Trump on day one of his second term. The proclaimed goal? To crack down on fraud and what they see as wasteful government spending. Even though Musk's role isn't entirely clear, he seems to be running the show, for now.
See, we told you. Right? This guy is behind all of this. All right? Again, this is why we said we were watching this guy very closely. All right? This is the guy that's really in charge. Right? Remember, this man is the head of Neuralink. All right? Dealing with the device. Right? So that database, because remember, let me go back to that image again. All right? Everything is going to be tied to this, all right? They're trying to merge all the data to one system, all right? And everything is going to be tied to that device, right? Real quick, this is 2 Corinthians 2:11. And it reads 2 Corinthians 2:11, it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right? So we clearly see where this is headed. Again. Right?
To crack down on fraud and what they see as wasteful government spending. Even though Musk's role isn't entirely clear, he seems to be running the show, for now. DOGE has caused a lot of controversy. Why? Mostly because no one really knows what data their employees have access to or what exactly they're doing with it. So far, DOGE has accessed data from several major US authorities. The Internal Revenue Service, they handle everything tax-related. The Social Security Administration, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Labor. All of these have huge databases with highly sensitive personal information of citizens. Normally, all this data is stored separately on independent, secure servers. That's on purpose, for safety reasons. In most cases, also outside the US, if law enforcement wants to look into, say, your social security info, they have to file a formal request and have a strong reason for it. So why does DOGE want to combine all of this data into one giant system? That kind of central database could allow instant access with fewer checks and less oversight. That's a major shift. Donald Trump made a big promise during his campaign. He'd significantly cut the number of undocumented immigrants in the US. He said it was about protecting national security and bringing more jobs to US citizens. In 2022, an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants were living in the US. Many of them, regardless of their status, work in essential sectors like agriculture and construction. And here's something not everyone knows. Many of them pay taxes, even without having a valid social security number. This is where DOGE sees an opportunity. By merging data from several US agencies, they could easily identify people working without proper documentation. People who pay taxes and don't have a social security number would be an easy target.
Yeah, so the point again is that this is bigger than immigration, man. All right, these devils are getting ready to fully have surveillance and control over all society through this beast system, is the point. All right, everything is merging into one, right? One world government, one world religion, artificial intelligence, digital currency, social credit scores. All right, QR codes for identification, which eventually is going to lead to the M.O.T.B. All right, as we saw earlier, right? The next phase of surveillance, getting under your skin, right? And we're going to come back and read a little bit of this article as well, but let me finish this off.
Bush could also check if someone has a pending or denied immigration request by pulling data from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services into its so-called data lake at the Department of Homeland Security. And it doesn't stop there. If you throw in biometric data or IP addresses, you could track down people anywhere in the US via geolocating. The master database could become a powerful tool, not just to identify, but to find and deport undocumented individuals. Don't get me wrong. There are legitimate reasons to tackle truly illegal immigration. Nevertheless, the idea of a general database comes with a lot of risks for everyone. There is one simple reason why different authorities keep databases separate: security. If one system gets hacked, only that department is affected. If a master database is hacked, everyone is compromised. That would give cyber criminals access to data from across government agencies, and that could be used to harm people or the system itself. But there's more. An error in such a huge...
Yeah. So how are you going to be able to hack people, right? Through the device, right? Which we're going to read in that article in a minute. But that guy, Yuval Noah Harari, he said that humans would be hackable, and that's going to happen through the CHIP, the M.O.T.B, right?
Huge system could have severe consequences. Imagine being wrongly flagged. Innocent people could get deported. And even without a master database, this has recently happened to Kilma Abrego Garcia, who ended up in a Salvadoran prison without proof of his alleged crimes. To work at all, this database would need to include information on hundreds of millions of people living in the US. And once that data lake exists, it could be used to go after anyone, really. Not just undocumented immigrants, members of a certain religion, for example, or political opponents, and anyone critical of the government. In the wrong hands...
There you go. That's the purpose of it. That's really what it's for. All right?
This system could become a tool for surveillance, intimidation, or repression, even if access was strictly limited. Critics argue that once the data is collected, it will be used. To sum it up, a master database might be sold to the public as a way to protect national security, but it could pose a national security risk in itself. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's Psalm 55, right? They're gonna propose this is what society needs, but at the same time they're gonna use it as a form of digital oppression. Right? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Psalms 55 and verse 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So that's exactly what that is. All right? They're coming, this database, all right? This database is that final component of that beast system. This technocracy, right? So we're here, all right? Now I wanted to read this real quick before we close out, because he was making points from that devil, that small hat Noah, Yuval Harari, right? Like you said, humans were hackable animals, all right? And you're going to be hackable through that device. But I want to jump down, just read the point here, all right? Bear with me. Mechanisms of controls, right? You see? Let's read that real quick. It says, the next steps in hacking human beings will involve attempted rollouts, which we should vigorously resist, of digital IDs, which I brought it out before, that the digital IDs are going to come with micro CHIPs. It says tied to fingerprints and other biometric data like iris scans or face IDs or demographic information, medical records, data on education, travel, financial transactions, and bank accounts. That's the beast. All right, everything. All right, eventually leading to that device, that CHIP. It says these will be combined with central bank digital currencies, giving government surveillance power and control over every one of your financial transactions, with the ability to lock you out of the market if you do not comply with government directives. That's Revelation 13 and 15. All right? As I quoted earlier, Revelation 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. All right? This is what we're seeing here. All right? The image of the beast is speaking. This system, the AI, this technocracy. Okay? And cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So as we read again, all right, those that don't comply, all right, they will have the ability to lock you out of the market if you do not comply with government directives. This is how you're going to be killed. You're going to be banned from society, all right? Any cause of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number of the beast or the number of his name. All right, it's all one and the same. Okay, you false prophets out there are looking real bad right now. All right, and when this thing hits, you're not going to have an answer for your congregation. All right, you're going to be completely exposed. It says, let's jump down, get to the point. Microwave eugenics. Bear with me. All right, here we go, right here. I'm gonna highlight it here. This is the point I wanted to read before we wrap it. So it says, it turns out that Harari is a professor of history at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. His best-selling books have sold over 20 million copies worldwide, which is no small shake. More importantly, he is one of the darlings of the World Economic Forum and a key architect of their agenda. In 2018, his lecture at the WEF, quote, "Will the Future Be Human?" was sandwiched between addresses from German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron. So he's playing in the sandbox with the big dogs. It says in his WEF lecture, Harari explained that in the coming generations, we will quote, learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds, such that these will become the main products of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. See? Dealing with that CHIP. The few masters of the economy, he explains, will be the people who own and control data. Today, data is the most important asset in the world, in contrast to ancient times when land was the most important asset, or the industrial age when machines were paramount. WEF kingpin Klaus Schwab echoed Harari's ideas when he explained one of the features of the fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, it changes us. Through gene editing and other biotechnological tools that operate under our skin. Boom. All right, so we're here. All right, salvation is close. And it's all going down, man. All right, Romans 13 and 11. Romans 13 and 11, it says, in that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. All right? We are here, man. All right? Though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not tarry. Shalom.